4.4, find slope and rate of change. Then I would go very, very quickly, not running, but very quickly to go get the correct one.
Oh, yeah, Sam.
All right, slope is the ratio of the vertical change which is rise to the horizontal change which is run. Slope is represented by the letter M. Why? I don't know, but slope is M. All right, finding the slope of a line, that's pretty much this entire section. In words, we say the slope M of the non-vertical line passing through the 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2 is the ratio of the rise to the run. So slope equals rise over run, which is equal to the change in y over the change in x. In symbols, in this formula that you have to memorize, M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I would write somewhere in big letters, memorize this. You will need this always and forever from here on out in math class. All right, as far as a graph, it's kind of excessively large. Hold on. If we have a line that's graphed and it has 2 points on it, like so, this is the point x1, y1, and this is the point x2, y2. And I'm going to say this not to confuse you, but hopefully to make your life easier. It does not matter which point is point 1 and which one is point 2, as long as you are consistent when you write in your formula. Okay, so I could really choose either point to be point 1 and point 2. I will always do the first point that's listed as point 1, the second point listed as point 2. but just so you know. So rise is going up like this. So this is rise, and this is y2 minus y1. So this is the top part of this fraction. Then this direction here is run, and this is x2 minus x1. So when we're talking about slope, we're either going to say it's going up or down. Okay, rise can also be in the negative direction and going down. And then run can either be left or right, but we're going to say up so many, right so many, or down so many, left so many, whatever. I'm going to do a quick example before we keep going so that we can make sure that we understand what's happening. So guided practice number 2 gives us the points -2, 3, and the point 4, 6. And it wants us to find the slope. So while you're getting used to it, when I was sitting where you are right now, I would write the formula every single problem, okay? I'm not going to require you to do that, but it's really beneficial so that you make sure that you know that, because when the quiz rolls around on Tuesday, you're going to want to make sure you know it, okay? So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If it would help you, you can even go up here and say this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2, if you want. So y2 is 6. So I have 6 minus y1 is 3. So on top I have 6 minus 3 over x2, which is 4, minus x1 is -2, so I'm going to put that in parentheses because I've got a negative number. So on top, 6 minus 3 is 3. On the bottom, 4 minus a -2 is what? 6. Minus a negative would be plus, so 4 plus 2 is 6. Can I reduce this?
Yes.
And what would it be when you reduce it?
1/2.
1/2. So the slope of this line is 1/2. All right, and obviously we'll do more, but I just wanted you to have one for reference right there with those notes.
Just quick. Oh, when we do the answer, do we just put m equals that for slope?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you work it across like this, like in, let's just say you didn't put this middle part and you just had m equals and then you have this and you just work all the way across, that's totally fine, like I have it too. I mean, if you want to rewrite m equals, then, I mean, I'm not going to stop you, but you don't have to as long as you have it over here. All right, do you remember the other day we talked about the number in front of x, if it was positive or negative, and what the line looked like?
Yeah.
So that's actually slope. Okay, if it's a positive number, it has a positive slope like this one does. If it's a negative number, it has a negative slope. It's like going down the hill. Okay, so I'm going to draw the different ones for you and tell you what the different types of slope are called. There's going to be 4 options. So classification of lines by slope. So I'm going to draw 4 little mini graphs here. They don't need to be huge. All right, so then on this one, so what I draw in blue is going to be the line that we're looking at. All right, so I've got 4 different kinds of lines. So this first one here is a line with positive slope, which means that m is greater than 0. Okay, so it basically just means m is positive. Rises from left to right. So I don't think our book does this, but some books will ask you to classify a line, and we would say that this one is rising. Okay, if you had to classify it. I don't think yours does that. I think that's Algebra 2 book, but just for reference. Give you a head start for 2 years from now.
2 years?
Next year's geometry. Jinxing my career.
Wait, why don't we take Algebra 2 after this?
Because you need stuff in geometry for Algebra 2.
Oh.
Like, it's not required, but it's greatly advised.
What? Geometry.
So, do we take out Algebra 2 in Miss Middle's class or in this class?
It depends. I teach Algebra 2 advanced,
Oh, okay.
so it depends. All right, this line here is a line with negative slope. So m is less than 0, and it falls from left to right. So we would say that this graph is falling. So up the hill is a positive slope, down the hill is a negative slope. All right, what kind of line is this?
Straight or equal?
Horizontal line. So a line with 0 slope so m is equal to 0 is horizontal. What kind of line is the last one? Yep. So this is a line with undefined slope is vertical. So that means that when you work your equation, you're going to get some number divided by 0. And we can never, ever, ever divide by 0. So if you have 0 on the bottom, that means it's undefined. Now, the most common thing is people mixing up 0 slope and undefined slope. So I'm going to show you my trick to remember which one's which. Okay? When you make the letter Z, okay, for 0, you go across first to make your Z. Okay, or it can just do that. There we go. Okay, you go across first. The top of Z is flat, so going flat across is a 0 slope. Okay? Undefined slope, when you make a U, you go down and back up. So since you go down first, that's the way to remember that's undefined. Does that make sense? Okay. Some of y'all are looking at me like I have 8 heads right now. So I'm like, what is happening? All right.
What is the name for the last two?
This is just 0 slope and undefined. So I would just say up here, 0 and undefined. All right, the other thing in this section, so our section was called Find Slope and Rate of Change. When you hear rate of change, I want you to think slope. All right, so but specifically, rate of change, we use this in a very specific situation. So rate of change compares a change in one quantity to a change in another quantity. Okay, so for example, do any of you have a job?
Yes.
A job?
Yeah.
Sigma Factories, Timu,
Oh my gosh.
Okay, disregard.
I'm a cat sitter. Does that count?
Timu!
My job
Team of
is
factories.
to
My
mow
job is
my house.
Well,
Mow my-
my
Pretty
job
sure that's
is
not how
to-
it's
Yeah,
pronounced, but okay.
I'll work
Okay,
at the Amazon
rein it back in. Let's say you are paid.
Wait, I work at Vinny's.
Let's say you're paid $50 for working 5 hours at Vinny's. Sure.
Yay. No.
That's below.
Okay.
That's below.
She's a Timu Factory.
That means that you make $10 per hour.
That's a scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Vinny's? Yeah, that's a scale.
McDonald's pays.
Pretty sure that's minimum wage, so
We're gonna jail. You're a child.
minimum wage used to be $7.25, so I'd appreciate
I'm
10.
pretty sure it's like 15 now.
Vinny's, I'm gonna go sue
So the way that we find this though is $50 in 5 hours. Okay? So now notice now this is a ratio that looks like our slope equation. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Whoa. So $10 per hour. Okay? So these will be like short little word problem type things like this that you're finding. Okay, sometimes they might give you a table and we have to do it that way also. It just depends. All right, into problems now. So these ones give you a graph. So number 4, we have this graph. You don't really need graph paper for these because none of these were graphing except for these that came with a graph. But you do not have to copy the graph from the book when you do the problems, just so you know. There is a point at 1, 1. And a point at -2, -1. And obviously they are connected and make a line. And they want us to tell if the slope is positive, -0, or undefined. So what kind of slope does this one have?
Positive.
Yep, positive. So they're specifically saying positive, -0, or undefined. So just stick with the words that they ask for. So this has a positive slope. Then they say find the slope if it exists. So they've given us 2 points. So I'm going to say this is point 1 and this is point 2. It does not matter. So I'm going to set up slope. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, y2 is negative 1, so negative 1 minus y1 is 1 over x2 is negative 2 minus x1 is 1. So what's negative 1 minus 1?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. What's negative 2 minus 1?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. So notice this is negative 2 over negative 3. So what does that equal to?
Positive.
Yep.
2 over 3.
Positive 2 over 3. So this would be the slope for this one.
How'd you get
How do we
that?
get a positive?
Negative divided by negative is positive.
Oh.
Yeah, guys.
Can I shut my pencil? Jonathan, shut up.
No, I got professional Algebra.
Blah, blah.
Now notice, we said that our slope was positive, so it only makes sense that my slope is positive. I just blew Grace's mind.
Crazy.
That was awesome.
What'd you do?
She blew Grace's mind.
Yeah, she did.
Well, Grace mine gets blown very easily.
Yeah,
She sees water and she her mind is blown.
All right, number 6 also gives you a graph.
Water's clear. Wait. Yeah, did you not know that?
All right, this one has a point at 2, 4,
I had to process that. Give me a minute.
and a point at 6, 2. All right, what kind of slope does this have?
Falling?
Negative.
Negative. If you say falling or negative, that's fine. If you say positive or rising, I'll take that. That's fine. I would suggest writing positive or negative because since I know this is negative, what is my final answer going to be? Negative. Okay, so m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so I'm going to say 2, 4 is 0.1 and 6, 2 is 0.2. So y2 is 2 minus y1 is 4. So 2 minus 4 over x2 is 6 minus x1 is 2. 2 minus 4 is
Negative 2.
negative 2 over 6 minus 2 is 4. Reduce that and I get
Negative 1 over negative half.
negative 1/2. It's negative and I knew that I had a negative slope. All right, finding the slope of the line that passes through the points. Eight. They give us the point -2, -1, and 4, 5. All right, somebody tell me this formula for slope.
M equals
Y
y2
minus
minus y1
Over.
over x2 minus x1.
Yep. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. My goal is to get this so you say this in your sleep at night. You know the formula for slope like that, as well as you know the back of your hand.
I don't know.
Okay, well, hopefully you'll learn it. All right,
Jonathan, you'll remember it.
y2. So I always will call the second point listed 2, okay? So y2 is 5 minus y1 is -1 over x2 is 4 minus x1 is -2. So I have 5 minus a -1, which is 6 minus a negative is adding, so that's why it's like that. So 4 minus -2 is, so this is 1. So the slope of this one is 1. Alright, 10. 5, negative 3, and negative 5, negative 3. Alright, somebody different that didn't say it last time, say the slope formula.
M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
I think that was everyone.
Yeah, that was everybody. You don't have to say
Everyone
anything.
besides me.
Yeah.
You don't have to say
Everyone
anything.
besides me.
Thinking of the formula.
You don't have to say anything. Mark.
Wait, it's the same formula.
No.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
No,
is.
no, I meant like the
She means the numbers. Alright, y2 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus negative 3 over negative 5 minus 5.
No, it isn't. It's not the same.
Alright, negative 3 minus a negative 3 is
Zero.
0. Negative 5 minus 5 is
Negative 10.
negative 10. What is that?
Zero.
0. So this one has a 0 slope. So this would be a straight line across if you were graphing it.
flipping.
All right, 12. I want you to do this one on your own. Negative 3, 4, and 4, 1.
I said I'll try.
Hey,
I said you can do it.
I'll take no
Yeah,
for
what?
it, bro.
Jonathan's being
The
sarcastic.
hardest part is adding and subtracting.
What?
What?
Did you say?
All right, it doesn't take talking to do this problem. You're doing this on your own. All right, what do we get?
Seven over negative 3.
I got negative
No,
three.
negative 7 over 3.
Yeah.
I got negative 3 over 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
I got negative 7 over 7.
I got 7 over negative
All right, all right, all right.
Who's right?
It's y over x. Y was 1 minus 4 over 4 minus negative 3.
I was on the right track.
Remember, every point, listen! Every point is x, then y.
Oh.
They're in alphabetical order if you ever forget.
I don't know. I'll put 3 over 7.
All right, 14. The point 0, 0, and the point 0, negative 6.
Everything's 0?
Everything's not 0, there's a negative 6.
I think the answer's 0.
All right, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Y2 is what?
0.
0.
That's a guess.
6, negative
I mean,
6.
got the answer.
Negative 6. What minus what's y1?
0.
0 over what's x2?
0.
What's x1?
0.
All right, negative 6 minus 0 is negative 6 over 0 minus 0 is 0. So what is this?
Undefined.
Oh, no, it's 0.
Undefined.
Because 0.
No, it's undefined.
Am I ever allowed to divide by 0? No, it's undefined. If you have Siri, well, she doesn't do it anymore, but she used to. It's kind of sad that she doesn't. If you ever asked her something about 0 divided by 0, she would go on to tell you about Cookie Monster and having no friends because he had no cookies. Because you can't have no friends. Can't, huh?
Hear the first
I
half.
didn't hear the first part.
If you used to ask Siri what 0 divided by 0, she would tell you some story about Cookie Monster and how he had no cookies and he was sad and he had no friends because he had no cookies.
Wait, does it still do it to the?
No.
No, it doesn't do it anymore. It's really annoying. But anyways, if you divide by 0, it is undefined. Okay, that was the whole point of Cookie Monster story.
That's so sad.
All right, one more I want you to try on your own, and then that's going to be where we stop for today. -10, -2, and -8, 8. Take away the formula. Not letting you have the formula this time.
Whoa. What are you going super saiyan?
Oh my.
If that was a word thing.
Yeah. He's getting ready for
That
the
was
world.
Yo.
World domination. What?
He's gonna dominate the world with a bird.
He is.
I don't trust. Grace, I don't either.
Who does?
Me.
Sam.
Of course Sam does.
Well, I don't trust Sam.
You're gonna trust your house being destroyed. Not by me, not by me, not by me.
Not by you.
Sam, this is a threat.
This is threat.
No, it's not.
Sam's making death threats.
Sam, it's not okay.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
My team
I
boss
remember,
tell me a
yeah.
lot.
Was like,
You're gonna talk to him.
All right, what do we get?
I got 10
I got
over 8.
five.
I got 6 over.
I got 5.
Five over
I got 5.
I got 5.
I got 6 over -18.
Look, you see, you have 10 over 10.
All right, settle down. All right. Y2 was 8 minus Y1 was -2. 8 minus a -2 would be plus, so that would be 10. Over X2 was -8 minus X1 was -10, so minus a negative is plus. So -8 plus 10 would be 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Do you have a question? In just a second. All right. I'm going to stop there in this section, but I'm giving you problems that are due on Monday. You probably can do them now. We still have 10 minutes left, and they're not like long problems. But there is a little bit more to this section, so your quiz is going to be on Wednesday next week, not Tuesday, because I want to finish this up, and I didn't want to rush it to get it in today.
Yay!
5 through 15 odd.
It's not bad.
That was easy.
It's like 5.
Wait, that's it?
That would be
I'm
it.
looking in the book.
Yes, 5.
Wait, what is
5.
this?
5 through
Wednesday. I'm going to put it on the board in just a second.
Oh,